Hey friends, today we're talking about triangles. Okay, so in your notebook, I need you to write down the different ways that you can classify a triangle. In this case, you can classify it as acute, right, or obtuse using its angles. So an acute triangle has all acute angles, a right triangle has one right angle, and an obtuse triangle has one obtuse angle. Obtuse meaning greater than 90 and less than 180, right meaning 90 degrees, and acute meaning less than 90. A scalene triangle has no congruent sides, okay, so every side length is different. An isosceles triangle has two congruent sides. In an equilateral triangle, all the side lengths are the same. So make sure you have those in your notebook. Okay, so draw a triangle with one obtuse angle and no congruent sides, then classify the triangle. All right, so in this one, we need to draw our obtuse angle. So I'm going to start with my line. And my obtuse angle needs to be greater than 90. So if I was using a protractor, this would be 90 degrees, like so, right here. So it needs to be greater than 90, but less than 180. Okay, so we can get rid of that right angle. So there's my obtuse angle. It can't have any congruent sides. Okay, so let's even make this side length a little bit shorter. And so now we can see that this side is relatively long and this side is relatively short, and this side is going to be a little bit longer than the both of them. Okay, so this is an obtuse angle, or excuse me, an obtuse triangle, and it has no congruent sides, so it's a scalene triangle. Draw a triangle with one right angle and two congruent sides. Okay, so the first step is going to be to draw the right angle. Okay, so I'm going to draw an inch line, okay? And then I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to make another inch line that forms a 90-degree angle. Okay, and 90 degrees is easy on my protractor because it forms that corner, right? Okay, so those two are my congruent side lengths. So I can actually I can draw in here my lines that show that those are congruent. Okay, so now we can finish off our triangle by drawing a line connecting them. Okay, so this is 1 inch and this is 1 inch. So we have, let's double check to make sure that our other side is not the same, which it shouldn't be because it's what they call a hypotenuse. Okay, so if I look here and it's a little bit more, it's almost 1.5, but a little bit less. Okay, so there is my triangle. Two congruent sides means it's isosceles, and the right angle means it is a right triangle. So it's an isosceles right triangle. Okay, classify the triangle on the house by its sides and by its angles. Okay, so at the top here, we notice it has two of the same, so it is isosceles. And then we notice that these two angles in an isosceles triangle have to be the same. So that's something that you need to know about an isosceles triangle, is if their two sides are the same, then their two angles are also the same. And this angle is a little bit bigger, okay? So this is an obtuse triangle. So this is an isosceles obtuse triangle. What about this one? Let's look at its sides. Okay, so if we look at its side lengths, this one's really long, this one's a little bit shorter, and this one's really short. So it's a scalene, none of the same side lengths. And if we look right here, it's a right triangle. So it's a scalene right triangle. All right, so the angles of a triangle. The angles of a triangle measure to be 180 when combined. So if I add x, y, and z, together they equal 180. That's helpful in problems like this, when we need to solve for z. So if I know that together they equal 180, that's my total. So I put 119 plus 43 plus angle z equals 180. And together over here we get 162 plus z equals 180. So if we take 162 away, z equals 18 degrees. So z is 18, and that follows the rule of 180 for a triangle. Okay, go ahead and try this one. If you know the measure of angle A is 25 and B is 108, what's the measure of C? Pause the video right now and take a few moments to try this one. Okay, so if we follow the rules, we take 180 and we set it equal to our 108 plus our 25 plus angle C. We know that together these equal 133. Oop, just kidding, I'm making a video right now and it tells me that I have 2 more minutes left until the hour's over. So we have 133 and we are going to take that away from 180. So C equals 47 degrees. So if you got that, great job. If you didn't, go back and rewatch those problems again. Okay, this one's really important. Alabama's state flag is shown here, and I want to know what the missing measure is of the triangle. So 110 plus 35 plus x, and we're going to set that equal to 180. So really I have 145 here plus x equals 180. Okay, so if you take 145 away, we get x equaling 35 degrees because it's the missing link. The interesting thing about this one then is it's got 2 angles that are the same, which means these 2 sides are probably the same as well. It's an isosceles triangle with an obtuse angle, so it's an obtuse isosceles triangle. Draw a triangle with 3 acute angles and 2 congruent sides, and then classify the triangle. Okay, go ahead and try this one on your own. I'm going to show you the answer in just a second. Okay, here we go. Okay, so here's the triangle. It's got 3 acute angles, okay, all less than 90, and 2 congruent sides. So it's an acute isosceles triangle. All right, find the value of x. If you have all of these angles, they should equal 180. So really what we have here is 5x if we combine our like terms. So that means we have to divide 180 by 5. And when we do, x equals 36. Okay, so that means that this angle is 36 degrees, this angle is 36 degrees, and this angle is 108 degrees, or an obtuse angle. So this is an obtuse triangle, and if 2 angles are the same, it's isosceles, which means that it's an obtuse isosceles triangle. Okay, here they want us to find the value of x and y. What do we know about this? It's a straight line equaling 180. So if you take 180 and you take away 50, you know 150, you know x has to be 30. And in this triangle, if you know this is 30, you know this is 90, you know why. Because 30 plus 90 equals 120, and if we add that with our y, it should equal 180. So if we take away 120 from 180, y equals 60. Okay, go ahead and try this one and see if you can do it. Okay, this is a little bit more of a challenge, but I think you can handle it. All right, go ahead and try this one. Pause the video. I'll be back in just a second to show you the answer. Okay, here we go with the answer. Okay, so if we take 61 plus 47 plus b, we get 180. If we take and we add them together, we get 108, and 108 plus b equals 180, so b has to be 72. Okay, because if you look here, this was a straight line. It's a supplementary line, so b is 72 degrees. Okay, what do we know about c? We know that c is a vertical angle with 47, which means that c has to equal 47. And now what do we know? We know a triangle equals 180. So if we take b, or 72, plus c, or 47, plus a, we should get 180. Okay? So 47 plus 72 gives us a total of 119. If we take 119 plus a, we get 180. Okay, so take away 119 from 180, and you get a equaling 61. Okay, and that's all I've got for you today, and I will see you tomorrow. Maybe, unless it's a weekend.